Happy New Year, it's DK, back at you with another video to break down the 3-game NBA slate on Tuesday. If this is your first time watching, do cover content for Draftkings, NBA, NFL, as well as for Prize Picks. Prize Picks, they are the sponsor of the video. If you're not familiar, it's a player prop site where you build 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 player props and win up to 25 extra money. You can mix and match sports, basically of every single sport you can think of. So if you guys want to give it a try, you can use the code DKDFS. 100% match up to $100, basically free $100 to play with on the site. Also, I'll have it linked down below. Went 3 for 3 on Prize Picks today with a Ben Simmons push. So 3 for 3 hits and 1 push, which was nice. Was originally going to take the Rudy Gobert over rebounds if Naz Reid got ruled out, but it got bumped up before Naz Reid got confirmed out, so they didn't end up taking it, which was nice because Gobert is the absolute woat. And oh yeah, if you guys are looking for premium content, you can check my Patreon link down below. A lot of different packages for DFS or for Prize Picks. So let's recap last couple nights here. New Year's Eve night was really, really solid. Could have been a massive night if, the 76ers game didn't turn into a random blowout. And Embiid, Melton, and Milton didn't play the full complement of minutes, which was super, super tilting. Also, Sadiq Bey randomly getting benched. It's like, come on, man. Come on. So that was tilting, but still ended up being a good night. And then tonight was also a really, really solid night. A 3x overall in NBA. So let's go over my lineup here. And, so I went with Noel, LeVert, LeBron, Draymond Green, Kevin Love, Seth Curry, Anthony Edwards, and Klay Thompson. So I wanted to get off Luka chalk in tournaments, and it was looking good. It was looking good in the first half. Luka had like 15, 20. He had like a really bad half. I'm like, yes, going to get away with. Also, I mentioned on the stream how I did not agree with ownership projections in Luka. A lot of projection sites had him like 10 to 15%. I was like, no, he's going to be chalk. And he was. He was like almost 50%. So kind of called that one, but I got off him, and of course he played the entire second half. It's like you can't play Luka 40 plus minutes a night. You can't do that for the amount of work that he does. But going over the rest of my lineup, so I ate the chalk with LeVert and Kevin Love and LeBron James. Jalen Noel is someone I was absolutely prioritizing once D'Lo got ruled out and he got confirmed starting. Draymond Green was relatively low on, which I was a bit surprised about. I was very high in the Warriors. I mean, a lot of the Warriors were relatively popular. But yeah, only 14% for Klay, 10% for Draymond. Obviously, double overtime did help there, but both those guys absolutely went off. Seth Curry, this was also tilting. He was relatively low on. He was breaking the slate. Biggest blowout in NBA history for him to not touch the court in the fourth quarter. And then also, I thought was one of the best GP plays of the slate, Anthony Edwards, had like 0 points until like the end of the second quarter. Still finished with 50 plus, but that was a frustrating start for him. So that's the recap last couple days. Really, really solid. Hit all my Prize Picks. Hit on DFS. Also made a straight bet on Anthony Lamb over rebounds 3.5. That was nice. So hoping to keep it going here for this 3-game slate. And let's start off with Boston and OKC. So there's a little bit of blowout risk here. Obviously, Boston, one of the better NBA teams in the league. OKC, not so much. But starting on the Boston side, the only piece of news they're waiting for here is Robert Williams. He is questionable. If Robert Williams misses, I think you probably get a couple more minutes for Al Horford, probably a few more minutes for Grant Williams, and probably one of Blake Griffin or Luke Cornett enter the rotation. But top end guys wouldn't really affect Tatum or Brown much. Tatum, Brown should play 35 to 40 minutes each as long as the game stays competitive. 9-3 for Brown, 10-7 for Tatum. It's at a point where, like, okay, both price points make sense. I don't know if I have a lean on which one I prefer with Tatum and Brown. I think they both look pretty decent. I wouldn't say either are priorities, but if the game stays competitive, both have a pretty high ceiling. Marcus Smart, I'm always kind of just like indifferent on. He's always in that like low 6K range. You know, he's going to play most likely low to mid 30s minutes. Probably won't kill you. Usually doesn't have a massive ceiling. Every once in a while you get that big Marcus Smart game. I do want to mention the minutes have been down on Brogdon, which is a bit surprising. 17, 17, 21, and 20 minutes over the last few games. Now, he is good point per minute. Like, he's going to be productive when he's on the court, but a little bit frustrating right now with how many minutes he's been getting. So he's more of a tournament-only play. Al Horford at 4-8, I think, is a pretty safe play. He's going to look a little bit better if Robert Williams gets ruled out. And then Derek White randomly got benched last game for Grant Williams, but before that, he had played 30-plus minutes in the last 4 games. Another kind of decent value. Grant Williams, I think, is playable if Robert Williams misses. If Robert Williams is out, I would like Grant Williams a bit more here at 3-5. And then Robert Williams himself, if he plays, I think he's a good tournament play. Should see around 20 minutes. and will be productive when he's on the court. Other than that, though, for Boston, probably not much. I mean, you probably get a few minutes for Sam Hauser in the rotation. Again, maybe one of Fournette or Blake Griffin into the rotation, but not enough for me to get to them. Moving on to Oklahoma City, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had one of his worst games of his season so far, going for 28 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Of course, the day that I took the Giddey under, and Giddey went over even with the blowout, which was just like, come on, man. Come on. But yeah, Shai, I think, game log watchers might keep his ownership relatively low, 42, 28 fantasy points, but still has a pretty high ceiling. Like him for tournaments. Josh Giddey, also fine tournament play. It's just like I feel like once every 5 games, he'll get benched and play like 25 minutes. But yeah, if you give me like 30 plus minutes from Josh Giddey, I think he's a fair play there. Lou Dort's 5-1. I mean, he's probably going to play close to 30 minutes. He's fine. The front court is where it's just like you just don't know what's going to happen here. The other Jalen Williams, the guard Jalen Williams, should see, he's been consistently seeing 25 to 30 minutes. Kind of just a neutral play for me. But the front court is where it's like I just have no idea what's going to happen. The other Jalen Williams has been starting, but I clicked on the wrong Jalen Williams. The other Jalen Williams as 3-3 has been starting, but hasn't really been playing a ton. Only played 18 minutes last game, 24 the game before that. You've been seeing some run from Mike Muscala. You saw Darius Baisley re-enter the rotation after getting a DNP the game before. You even saw a couple minutes for Eugene Amorie. I mean, I guess it could go small with Kenneth Williams if they wanted to. It's just like, I hate the Thunder on a small slate. There are few things worse in life than the Thunder on a small slate, man. So, like, front court is just really, really hard to trust anyone. Trey Mann also been seeing decent minutes off the bench at 3.6K. I think he's a playable tournament option. But, yeah, let's move on to Washington and Milwaukee. So, on the Washington side, we're still waiting on the stats of Brad Beal. Daniel Gafford also, I think it's going to be questionable. He left the game at the end of the game last game. Taj Gibson also questionable. That's not really a big deal, though. So, top end guys, if Brad Beal's out, Porzingis and Kuzma look better. They get a usage bump. Porzingis is on pace for a good game last game. Massive blowout to bail out the faders. I played him at low ownership. Kyle Kuzma also gets a usage bump. Those two will look better if Beal is out. Monte Morris probably plays over 30 minutes if Beal's out. He'd be a fair play in the mid-range. And then, if like Beal and Gafford are out, you probably get Denny Advia in the starting lineup. So I think they would start Morris, Kispert, Denny, Kuzma, and Porzingis. So Denny Advia will look a little bit better there at 4-6. Definitely be a solid value. Rui Hachimura would probably get more run. He would look good at 4-5. So the injury news is pretty big to keep an eye on here for Washington. Corey Kispert, again, there's no Beal, should start, but probably play decent minutes. He's just low usage. He's fine. Now, if Gafford and Brad Beal are in, then it definitely hurts everyone. I think Porzingis, Kuzma, Beal would all be just tournament plays. Monte Morris would be pretty risky. You would, get less minutes for Denny, less minutes for Rui. Gafford himself, if he starts, I think would be playable. 25, 26, and 28 minutes over the last 3 games. So, yeah, that's kind of Washington. Let's move on to Milwaukee. Jrue Holiday, finally back. He's been sick for like a month now. He's been on my bust ball team. Like, how is this guy still sick? He missed like a full week, and then he missed like a full week before that. I was just like, how often is this guy sick, and how long is he be sick for? It's not like he had COVID. I was just like, what is going on here? But Giannis at 12-1. With Jrue Holiday back, I would say is not a priority, but he has been playing. He obviously had really big games with both Jrue and Middleton out. Still a pretty good spend up, still a great matchup. So I have no issue if you want to get to Giannis. Jrue Holiday, I do like the price point for him as long as there's no limitation. He's been out for a week with that illness, so he could see somewhat limited minutes. We'll try to keep an eye on that. Bobby Portis price is up, and Jrue Holiday back should lose minutes. I still think he's playable in tournaments, but I'm not as confident with him seeing about 30 minutes a game. Brooke Lopez also just, kind of is there. The value looks worse with Jrue Holiday back. Guys like Carter, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Joe Ingles. Not saying these guys are completely out of play, but tougher to prioritize. Also, George Hill is most likely back. That makes Javon Carter even tougher to get to. So maybe a little bit interested in Grayson Allen, maybe a little bit interested in Pat Connaughton, but value is tough to prioritize here from Milwaukee. In the final game, we got Sacramento and Utah. So Sabonis got in random foul trouble last game, only played 33 minutes. Would assume he plays, 37, 38 in a competitive game. It's a good match against Utah. He just went for 52 last game. So I think Sabonis is a solid spend up. I don't think he's going to be super popular, but I do like his ceiling. De'Aaron Fox at 9K, more of a contrarian spend up. The minutes have ticked up for him, 37, 39, 36. I was all over him this night with Sabonis out, and he only played 30 minutes in a competitive game. I just don't understand what coaches do. Like, what are they thinking? But yeah, Fox, more of a tournament play. If Kevin Huerter's out, small bump to Barnes, small bump to Keegan Murray, they probably play a bit more. You probably get a little bit more run from Malik Monk off the bench. If Huerter plays, all the wings are kind of just secondary plays with Huerter, with Barnes, with Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray been somewhere in that like 25 to 30 minute range. Playable. Malik Monk, I always like a ceiling in tournaments. If he plays well, they will extend him. He does have, 30, 40 plus fantasy point upside. So he's intriguing tournament play on a small slate. Trey Lyle's been getting decent minutes. He's been playing really well in those minutes. I don't know if we can continue for him to average like over a fantasy point per minute, but he's playable value. Davion Mitchell's 3-3. Probably can't do it. You might see a little bit of backup run for Sean Holmes. Right now he's been playing the backup 5, but I think I'd rather take the shot on Lyles over Holmes. And then finally, Utah Jazz. So Markkanen, Clarkson, these guys should see 35 plus minutes. Markkanen, three of the last 4 games has gone for 50 plus, but he's almost at 9K. So it's like, that price point's not amazing. Jordan Clarkson probably a little bit easier to get to. Should see around 35 minutes. So like the 2 main guys, I think Mike Conley's very safe. His minutes have ticked up 33, 32, 30, and 31 minutes over the last 4 games. So I think he's a pretty safe play. The front court are all more tournament plays with Olynyk, with Kessler, with Vanderbilt. You saw decent games for both Olynyk and Kessler last game, but that was also with Vanderbilt getting in foul trouble. So, like, the 3 front court guys are definitely playable, but I would say all more so for tournaments. Blake Beasley also viable for GPPs. His minutes have been ticking down, though, of late, which is a little bit concerning. Sexton is out, though, so like maybe Beasley's minutes are a little bit more secure. With Sexton out, I would think that NAW probably sees some rotation minutes. Maybe worth a dart throw, but that's going to do it for the Jazz, and that's going to wrap up the video as well. So if you guys have been enjoying the DFS content, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Really do appreciate all your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.